In the beginning, there was only nothing. Then the pure energy of creation came together in one point called the 0 point, building worlds within the nothing, taking over what once was his. Exactly why the last reality, the army of the nothing realm, was created by the god of this realm, the nothing himself. But we already have talked about these things, like how he wants his army to destroy every realm, leaving only one behind. Or is that even true? Do we really know the truth to this all and what the nothing actually is planning towards? Like, did the Cube Queen actually fail to water? Did Herald truly die for no reason? Who are the three Arcue? Or even, did the nothing want Origin to help the seven? Like, what is going on? So much is happening. Are they even truly connected? Well, yes. And the answer to every question you just heard and the explanation of the entire last reality will be done in this video. So, let's begin this all from... wait, what am I... Taylor, is that you? What the hell are you doing to the seat? Wait, no, please, do not... God, no!
I seem to have misplaced my head and arm. Just a moment, Scyan. Let's begin with what the nothing exactly is. The nothing and the 0 point work like yin and yang. The 0 point creates stuff and the nothing eventually ends it off. Because nothing can last forever. No pun intended. This is just natural order. But the nothing that commands the last reality seems to imagine a change within this order. A change which needs the 0 point. The nothing also seems to be a collection of souls in a hive mind beyond reality. While in contrast, the everything is all of existence we see in 99% of realms. Basically, the people we know and their souls. The nothing uses souls for power, destruction, and corruption. We see this in cubes, sideways monsters, shadows, howlers, and almost everything there is. Of course, there are people who contrast this, such as the Spire Guardians, who protect souls from corruption. If you'd like all the evidence on this, then I suggest you check out my video where I talk about that. But just bear with me and Scyan for now.
But why did the nothing create the last reality? For understanding this, we need to look at every member within this army, since the answer is very complicated. We know that creation of life is what only the creation energy owned by 0 points can make. This means almost no one in the last reality army is born within the nothing. For example, isn't it odd how there is a huge army of UFOs in the last reality which are aliens? Aliens who you would expect to be from an actual realm, not born within the nothingness. Well, that's because they are. Cube Queen among the story writers mainly is known as the Queen of the Aliens first and then the Cube Queen. That's because these aliens and her are from a realm which was made by the 0 point. A realm really powerful and rich with resources like the kinetic ore. One that the nothing had high interest in, so he came in to take over. But this time there was no need for fights. The Queen of Aliens, who now is known as the Cube Queen, listens to the nothing and what he wants to reach. The prize and gift which the nothing was to give all who follow him and the one who he thinks they deserve it. This prize is what comes after the last reality. A single realm made and the only one to exist, which contains the perfect beings and life collected from the other realms destroyed before it. A realm of perfection, peace, and most importantly, order. Once the Queen of Aliens saw what the nothing offered, she gave the nothing heirs among her entire army's honor to always stand on the side of the nothing for this imagination and the gift to become reality. This is exactly the origin of last reality and where the army got born from. Cube Queen was the first recruit of the army, and that's exactly why she's known as the ruler of last reality. But what about Origin? Looking at his body and especially the back of his head, Origin does not look like an organic, natural born being. He more seems to be a warrior and partner of Cube Queen, created using technology and a soul placed within this created body by the nothing, to born the strongest warrior of the army and their king. One more thing on him is the fact that Origin left the last reality and joined with the 7 instead after seeing the beauties of the realms which shows how he did not know of the realms before. How could he not if he was with the Cube Queen in the realms that got corrupted and joined the Nothing side? Unless he was built within the Nothing after the Alliance moment. One more thing you need to think of about him is why would the Nothing let the Origin leave their army so easily? He could have stopped Origin or even destroyed him, but he did not. Meaning that the Nothing actually allowed Origin to leave the army for him to have a taste of Imagine Order, Nothing's biggest enemy, leading to Origin having a hate for Imagine Order and joining the Seven to end them. Yes, Origin was manipulated to join the Seven by the Nothing himself, since Io is Nothing's biggest enemy and Origin Last Reality's strongest weapon. Being with the Seven guaranteed Seven's victory against Io.
Now that the Last Reality is created, it needs more recruits to become the biggest and strongest army known in any story ever. These new members are made in two ways. One are like the cube monsters, cubes, chromes, and things like that, which are beings who either do not have souls themselves or have been given a stolen soul and are just a curse made to serve or operate. Then the other is proven champions from different realities. The Bites quests are exactly how these proven champions join the army, which since you need to be near a Nothing connection like these two, it makes me think the kinetic ore found in the Oathbound realm and Mega realm was planted in these realities by the Nothing, so he could make a connection with Stellan and serenade through them. While manipulating, he will look for champions who have potential to be perfect, therefore worthy to gain the Nothing's prize and gift by joining his army. Just like Bites, whoever speaks to the Nothing will be forced to go through many challenges. These challenges only allow the strongest and the most perfect beings to pass, which if you are not one, you will be killed by them. But if you survive like Bites did, you are now part of the Nothing's army in future realms. This gift will either be kinetic ore and cube darkness, like given to the Cube Queen, or it can be chrome, the living metal, like Bites got, or especially Herald did. Because yes, Herald had to go through what Bites and many others did as well. She lived in a realm among luminaries, the wise of the world who see into things or even technology better than anyone else, and they're beings with a unique relationship to plants. Herald, just like the others, was called upon by the Nothing through Chrome, which was sent to this reality by the Nothing. Herald, just like Bites, passes the Nothing's hardest tasks and becomes his champion, and the Nothing's gift to her was the power to wield the Chrome. This victory forced Herald to destroy her realm to join the Last Reality, leaving only a single plant and some survivors like Mystica, who escaped living in her new realm. That is exactly why Mystica says if the Unseen are working for the Last Reality now, they are fools. Because just like her world, this will lead into the destruction of the Mega Realm. Even if the Unseen fail, it is still too late because yet another champion has been chosen as well, Serenade. This champion, unlike the others, have been gifted both Chrome and Kinetic Ore through the Nothing. And she is actually a River Guardian, joining the Last Reality with the abilities to control the tides in a special relation to singing.
We now know a lot about the Last Reality except two things. This logo and the triarchy idea that is shown within it, seen from the 3 circles on the outer ring. 3 hexagons and 3 circles on the bigger hexagon. An actual triangle. 3 darker circles and 3 rings around the main circle, which I think is meant to represent the Nothing. For the icons on the hexagon, the 3 circles, I feel like they're factions which mainly use the Chrome as their weapon, like the Heralds or the Dark Seas, which we do not know much about them yet. And the other 3 hexagon icons I believe to be the factions in the Last Reality which use kinetic ore or cubes mainly. Groups like the aliens, since many times cubes have been shown as a 2D hexagons. But for the third or other choices, since the 3 hexagons have been connected to create a triangle, it might be showing the triarchy. A group of 3 rulers, revealed recently which one has been said to be Nox, ruler of darkness. We do not really know much about the triarchy yet, especially the other 2, since they have just been introduced to the story. 3 main theories which me and Tater could come up with so far are these. One of them could be Cube Queen, ruler of cubes, and the other Herald, ruler of Chrome, and Nox, ruler of darkness. Or what I think it is, if you look at Nox, he's a robotic built body that contains a darkness soul within it to control the body? What if the energy or the soul within the robotic body is a piece of the nothing? The piece which controls darkness. This makes the most sense to me, but Tater also has a theory that these three hierarchies are representative of three omniversal powers. Tater thinks that everything is represented by the gold and blue survey skin that everyone is aware of, and the in-between would be represented by either zero or a skin similar to it. For now, something even more important which we need to take a look at is how similar the last reality logo is to Io's. While the last reality logo is showing off the omniverse and a hive mind, Io's logo is like a compass showing the top and bottom of the original Reality Zero Island with the water in the middle and the 0 point as the circle. Io seems to be basically like a light version of the last reality. This is even more supported when comparing Geno to the Nothing. They both have imagined the perfect order. They both promise the people who work for them a better future. They both need to control the 0 point for their goal, and they both do not care about how far they go or how many people get hurt till they reach their imagination. And Nothing is a shapeless god, while Geno has also been genetically altering himself to become shapeless or shape-shifting and be a god. We were meant to think that both Geno and the Nothing could be the shapeless man in chapter 4. It was intentional. I think that Geno has seen what the Nothing wants and how Nothing is trying to create a perfect order like it's in the name of Io. Maybe Nothing also tried to reach Geno, talking to him about his prize and gift, but instead of Geno joining the Nothing side, he decided to stop the Nothing, stealing his imagination, doing it in his own way instead of Nothing in a way less harsh plan with no need of destruction of the realities. That exactly could be why Geno is being corrupted, going from a bright white armor to a dark one. He's becoming like the Nothing, and exactly why Foundation, who used to work in Io like brother of Geno, leaves him, building the 7, swearing to stop Geno for the better of the everything. But even then, please don't look at Nothing or Geno as whatever they do, it's because they're evil. Every character has a good reason for what they do, and every character has a goal which is reasonable and not just there to be like evil. Bam! Oh my god! Geno still has a lot of care and good in him. He still loves his daughters and he saved Imagined.
The origin of the last reality has been hard to explain, but it's time for their first attack, beginning their plan of stealing the 0 point and using it to destroy every other realm while taking all the perfect beings. Then creating one single perfect reality with all those perfect beings stolen and placed within it to create a realm with eternal order and peace. Before we go through the plan, you need to know how everything I will talk about now was all planned by the Cube Queen, and she manipulated every moment in the Fortnite storyline history, beginning with the visitor escaping the island and not closing the sideways rift behind him. The Cube Queen uses this to her advantage, sliding in a single one of her cubes into the map, making this cube do a strange ritual to gather as much energy as possible, which corrupted the island, and shortly after, it sent out a blast, which hit the ice moon. This blast used so much energy to the point it completely destroyed the cube, freeing a soul which was put into this cube. A soul freed as a rift butterfly, which we see in the in-between. The reason why the Cube Queen did this was to break a chunk of the ice moon thrown into the island. This chunk was needed for the Cube Queen's plan because it contains the Ice King's collection of powerful beings and weapons like the Fire King, Infinity Blade, hybrids, and most importantly, the monster. This monster is born as a destroyer of realms, and once it felt the energy of the 0 point, the monster wanted the 0 point's energy. The Cube Queen wanted the monster because she knew what the paradigm would do after this monster appears. That being the paradigm making temporary peace with the IO in order to kill this monster and keep all beings safe. This piece is talked about in the Cube Queen's music pack as well. It's a key idea that the Nothing wants to teach us. Paradigm, because of this, is our key, and she will make Io and the 7 work together in a soon future in order to defeat the Nothing. But now the 0 point has gone crazy because the Paradigm used its power while fighting the monster, leading to the 7 acting out the first end event, which created this black hole. A black hole which exactly showed us the Nothing's plan. He will suck all realms ever made into one. An embodiment of this is Renzo the Destroyer, who is called Creation and Creator by Mystica.
Now that chapter 2 has started, right on Midas's device event we see a mysterious cube lightning hitting the device. This was just the start of us figuring out how the last reality has a lot of interest on Midas. This interest quickly turns into last reality making a full-on plan to steal Midas and make him one of their own. The plan goes in action by a member stealing Midas's chair. Since Midas willingly would never join the last reality, they needed him to be dead for getting one, and yep. In the same seasons, Bunker Jonesy, who has seen the future, talks about reboot wands and their secrets, how there is more to them than it seems. Jones was actually telling the truth. Last reality using the chair, Midas's reboot card and a reboot combined creates a dark version of him, a duplicate called Midas Shadow. This duplicate is made from the soul within this reboot card, allowing Midas Shadow to find a way and control reboots within the devices that collect our souls after death, making us become his mindless ghost and for the nothing to collect these souls. Now last reality also has a mastermind on their side too. Something more important is how the last reality wanted the black hole event to happen, because the shockwave from it made many powerful beings find out the most powerful energy to ever exist and come to consume it. One being especially with the name of Galactus. The harm Galactus had on the 0 point and what Io did made it impossible to calm down the 0 point anymore, making it implode very soon. Last reality knew this would force Jones to leave the Io and bring in Foundation. Foundation being the leader of Seven and former member of Io, who we, especially Tater, has theorized to have been the leader of a Spire faction of Io, one of the inner circle. That would explain how Foundation knew so much about the Spire and how it works, or Foundation has survived the nothing many times. Cube Queen predicted how Foundation would bring in the Spire cult to heal the 0 point because it was his only option to stop everyone on the island from dying. But why would Cube Queen even want the Spire here anyways? What's so special about it? To begin with, the Spire is made out of chromium. It is the same material as Chrome VC but altered, meaning last reality's own weapon used against themselves by Io. This was done to close any gate which would allow the last reality to come inside of realms and guard these gates for eternity. But not just that, the Nothing is known to take and corrupt souls, using them for his own. The Spire factions are tasked to keep away these souls from the hands of the Nothing as well, shown by the soul energy flowing through their armor, wings and more. This soul energy keeps the Spire beings from being corrupted by the Nothing as well, making them be powerful enemies to him. For the last reality to be able to send one of their UFOs into Zero Realm, they would need one of these gates free from the guards, which thanks to Foundation, the guards on one of the rift gates have been stolen and instead have to guard the Spire, leading to last reality having a gate to use coming into this realm. But that's not it, someone from the inside also needs to open this gate after. Well, for that, why do you think the Spire people kill you if you go near the Spire? Or why exactly Io never uses this tech anywhere outside of the Nothing realm? That's because this is a still Nothing technology, even if altered. If you ever go near it, the chromium will allow the Nothing to speak with you or even control your soul, corrupting it. 1/5 of a man was way too interested in the power of the Spire to bother with why the Spire guards don't let him near it. That man is Ras, who killed the Spire guardians and finally touched the Spire, allowing the Nothing to fully control him and open a gate using the 0 point, bringing in one of the motherships into the Zero Realm through this gate. The mummy ship is now here, but a huge question we all have is why? What was the point of it? Is it just to be the transportation of the Cube Queen? Or more importantly, what was the point of the Ariana Grande event? Till this moment, Cube Queen and the Nothing mainly only predicted what would happen based on the actions they make. They were not exactly sure how the future would play out. How the last reality managed to predict so much is by Herald's wise mind looking into our world, watching every move we make. As Stellan said, the Nothing is always watching us. But as we have learned, Herald is also really wise in technology as well, along her entire reality, which is now gone. The Nothing was not satisfied enough with watching everything. He wanted to see the future too. Jonesy already managed to see the future by eating a Peely, why could he not? The plan was to abduct every single looper and scan their mind and soul. By scanning them, last reality fully saw into every moment in the past, but most importantly into the future. They saw how Season 8 Chapter 2 would play out, along with the entire Chapter 3 and beginning of Chapter 4. If you're now thinking that why would the last reality let us destroy their mothership then, that's exactly because of this moment.
I won't bring you home. Not if there is a chance that thing can make it back to the island. Over and out.
Nothing knew Stone would do such a thing, and it was perfect for him to prove the loopers that Imagine Order would let us die for their own good. But this future seeing ability gained thanks to the help of Herald seems to be really limited. The only way to fight against an enemy which can see into the future is to find out what it cannot see. That's our only hope to win against the Nothing. Hey, I can already hear you booing me saying that last reality if you can see into the future from this point. Why did the Cube Queen oopsie dive into water? Goddamn water! And my answer to that is shut. Well, Cube Queen might have said her plan was to destroy us all, but first of all, that was absolute lie because it goes against what the Nothing wants. And second, her actual goal was to weaken the IO, give advantage to the 7 without letting them control the 0 point. The water death was just an act to fool the 7 and it worked really well. Like, think about it, Cube Queen can't be just like, ah dang, I need to leave my man, my mommy is calling me, wait a second, bye bye. She would have to play it natural for no one to know all the Nothing's plan. So this was acting natural. Never forget the line in Cube Queen's music pack saying that IO's fight against the 7 is in vain. Last reality's biggest enemy is IO because Geno is stealing what they're meant to be and doing it himself in a less harmful way. IO is the only one who knows the best how to stop and fight against the last reality. Nothing sees the 7 who are people who used to work in IO and looks at them as allies. But the 7 would never work with the last reality, so Nothing manipulates them into helping the last reality without even knowing. I already told you about how Origin was manipulated to join the 7 and help them win against IO. But this moment with Cube Queen was also to weaken the IO. And I mean, who knows, even Peely seeing visions of future exactly where the 7 would have failed was done by the last reality too, to make sure Peely does not let the 7 lose this war. Yes, the victory against IO was not a victory for the 7 but a victory for the last reality and their biggest enemy failing. That's exactly why no time wasted, right away Herald gets into reality 0 and why season 4 is called Paradise. It's a paradise and celebration of the last reality against IO, not ours. Geno is becoming like the Nothing for following the same imagination Nothing has. He is the only one who could possibly trick the Nothing. Exactly why the last reality wants him dead so bad. He is the only threat. And by the 7 taking over instead, they would free the 0 point as said, making the reach and abuse of the 0 point way easier than ever. For now, IO at least their main faction is gone till they return in the future. The Cube Queen part of the plan is done and Herald's plan begins. Herald, who has been a big help to the last reality, has unique abilities of communication and connection to plants, along with all the other powers we have already talked about, like watching over everything and more. While having this, she also has been gifted Chrome, the living metal by the Nothing. Her plan starts with speaking to a tree which has been created by the energy of the 0 point, freely flowing through the water gathered by this tree called the Reality Tree. The tree keeps gathering 0 point radiation, and Herald speaks to it, making the Tree of Realms bring in Herald among much of her Chrome and some beings from the last reality. Beings from the Dark Seas to start inviting others on the island and make them join the last reality as well, recruiting the perfect to be part of Nothing's final realm.
Now that the Herald is here, Paradise begins, and the Herald forces the Reality Tree to go to sleep so that none of the energy will be used. Therefore, the leaves in Reality Bloom dies, making the tree sleep, like how trees sleep in our winters, storing energy. While it's asleep, the tree keeps consuming more and more energy to become as powerful as a nuke. And at the same time, the Herald begins the second part of her plan, which is stealing the 7. First, she steals the Foundation, Imagine, and Order, since they're the ones with the most knowledge on IO, getting them to research while also going for the rest, especially Origin. Origin was sent to the 7 to end IO, and now that his task is finished, the last reality will probably mess with his mind again, forcing him to be the Cube King. I believe Paradigm surviving in this moment is also part of the Nothing's plan. They never wanted to capture the Paradigm. That's because the Herald's plan was to blow up this island and die. That would force Paradigm to bring many realities together, creating a new island. Those realities would contain the Nothing's kinetic ore. The Paradigm was tricked into doing this, and the Nothing wanted her to create this island. This could even be the beginning creation of the Nothing's perfect reality being planned, an ordered mix of every other realm that has ever existed. Besides that, why do you think the Herald died here? Again, just like what was said about the Cube Queen, the Herald is exactly the same.
Do you remember that season where Bushranger died in? Fortnite took a single piece of Bushranger and that in the ground became a reborn Bushranger. Just like how the Bites quests were a hint to how Herald became what she is now, this Bushranger death is also a hint to what is going on with Herald right now, since she's a plant-based being as well. She forged herself into the Reality Tree, becoming a sleeping tree herself now. Herald at the moment is in a fake death, or she's sleeping right now. With little care and water, she will be reborn and returning for the final plan of the Nothing. That's exactly why Herald killed herself. She wanted everyone on the island not to see her as a threat anymore until Nothing is ready to go. Now that the Nothing has begun the rest of his plan by manipulating Stellan, forcing him into building the Rift Gate, using the kinetic ore, leading into Mega Realm being brought here, which this Mega Realm contains yet another member of Last Reality, Serenade. It's time for Herald to become reborn once again, but how? Serenade is a corrupted river guardian who can manipulate water and sing to hypnotize. A plant needs water and care to become strong and big. Serenade and the Mega Realm was brought here for Serenade to give Herald water and sing her out of sleep once more. This is actually even more hinted at from Siren, who Serenade seems to be inspired from. Actually, not just her, even the Nothing seems to be inspired by the Greek mythology, the Chaos Goddess. And don't forget this either, Midas is a Greek mythology thing, so the entire storyline of Fortnite might be an epic Greek-inspired God War story. We're currently going through the final moments of Nothing's plan. Chapter 4 seems to be maybe the massive conclusion of War of entire Last Reality versus everything. People like IO, 7, Mega Syndicates and more, just everyone. Our only hope could be actually Geno. He knows how the 0 point works the best, so he could hopefully restore 7 souls back from corruption, and for that the 7 join with Geno in the fight against the Nothing. Till then, check out my friend's YouTube channel Tater OTF. She makes some banger animation and storyline content you need to see, especially the Furies, amazing.